The greatest goal of secularism is to tolerate the differences. That's the greatest goal. And many are falling so short of even that. But Jesus would never be so shallow, and Martin Luther King knew that. The goal is not to tolerate one another. The goal is to love your neighbor. That's what Jesus offers us. That's what Jesus shows us on his way. That's what Jesus inspires you and I to be able to do. The differences in our skin are not to be overlooked. They're to be recognized and embraced and celebrated, not ignored. They matter to the heart of God because he created them. And whatever God creates, I want to admire. Whatever God creates, I want to admire. But these are not the things that we unite around. Jesus said it in his prayer. These are not the things that we unite around. We are unified around one thing, which is Jesus, following him with our life, with every inch of our life. That is what unites us. We take all of our differences with us on this journey and we follow Jesus. And then Jesus is going to have some very personal conversations with me and with you and with that person. And as we're journeying, he's going to talk to you about things he doesn't talk to me about. He's going to talk to that person about things that he hasn't talked to either of us about, because Jesus is personal. And we're all following him on the way, and he has much to say. So how do I live this? Because that's the most important question. And honestly, in 2020, that's where so many of us just felt, I don't know how to live this out. I mean, I get this, Craig. This isn't brand new news necessarily, but how do I live this? And the enemy wants to just say, well, it's got to be this or it's got to be that. And if you don't do this and if you don't do that, well then... And he's nothing but dividing us. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. The greatest way to destroy an army is to divide and conquer them in small segments until they're all gone. The enemy knows this. His strategy, it's actually really sound. Except, you see, the church of God is the people who already know. Jesus told us, I gave them your word, oh God. I put them in the know so that they could have joy and they could see what's really going on, and they wouldn't actually listen to what the enemy is saying. They would listen to what you're saying, and they would know how to love their neighbor as their self. They would know how to love you in the midst of all of this chaos. Why? Not because they're listening to culture. They're not listening to secularism. We're not listening to politicians, but we're listening to the voice of the Holy Spirit of God. The enemy wants to divide us over so many things. The list is long. It's only getting longer. A few of those. He wants to divide us over black, white, left, right. With me, you're against me. CNN, Fox News, liberal, conservative, the have-nots, the police, I am against them or I'm for them. I'm for immigrants, I'm against immigrants. I post on social media what culture wants me to post, or I don't enter the conversation that way. That doesn't mean I'm not in the conversation. I'm just not going to enter it that way. And the enemy is dividing us. And you know what? He's doing an incredible job. But it's up to the church to say, what does the voice of God have to say? And when I hear the voice of God in this, all of these things begin to make much more sense. And I can actually start recognizing the truth. And as Jesus said, be in the know. Culture wants to cancel those who disagree with it. Jesus never canceled anyone, and I am so incredibly grateful that that is not the message of Jesus, because I can just tell you right now, with the life that I have lived, Jesus should cancel me. But Jesus did not cancel me, and he doesn't cancel you. He doesn't cancel any person who looks to him. That's not what he does. He invites us in, he forgives us, and he brings us in for restoration. Culture's best efforts is to tolerate. But you know what? Jesus says we can do better than that. We can love one another. I tell you what, there's nothing special about what culture's doing right now. There's nothing special, there's nothing admirable. It's all what we can do in our own strength. I don't think we need to be handing any trophies out. I think what we need to be doing is look to those who are falling in the way of Jesus. And Martin Luther King, an imperfect man, he took his imperfections and he said, but I'm going to follow Jesus anyway. I'm going to follow Jesus anyway. And he showed us a path of what it could look like. Showed us a path of what it could look like as a nation. But he's not the example. He would even tell you, Jesus is the example.